Hey everybody, welcome to the Cancer full moon reading that's going to be happening on January 17th of 2022. Of course, Cancer is ruled by the moon, so a normal moon already impacts us because, like we always say, we're water, and the moon, the tides change, our inner world changes. So with the full moon happening, just imagine the amplification of whatever emotion that you're going to be feeling around the time is going to be feeling huge. So just keep that in mind as the full moon comes in, and focus on what you want to amplify. And if you're amplifying a dark shadow emotion and you want to feel it deep, but just know that if you want to switch it up, you do have the ability to switch your focus onto a different emotion to amplify that instead. So this is what we're going to look at first, just real quick on this intro. Just the full moon in general has a cycle, not only like about every month, 28, 29 days, the moon phases from the new moon to the full moon. It also goes through this huge 6-month-ish rotation from the new moon in the sign to the full moon in the sign. So the last new moon that happened in Cancer is actually back on July 9th of 2021. So if you go back and look at what was going on around that time for you, because that energy was about new beginnings in our private life, like forward movement in our connections with people or connections with places that we hold dear. So really relationships and that home feeling, and also could have been around your self-care, because this is all about your private inner world, the Cancer sign, the moon, nurturing type energy as well. So when you're looking back and seeing what was beginning then when we look into the full moon in Cancer, then you can look at what is leaving you, it's like this culmination. Whatever seeds you planted during the new moon have come to a harvest, and now you're harvesting it. Then you're like, okay, what am I wanting to remove based on my journey over the last 6 months? Because now you're going to be on the 6-month journey on your inner world from this full moon to the next new moon in Cancer this year. So this energy of the full moon in Cancer can bring these feelings as if things are being resolved, or you're receiving revelations of the emotionally hidden, because the moon energy does help us get into the subconscious, the unconscious, kind of step behind the veil. So you might also have these feelings as soon as those revelations come in, because it is bringing you this inner conclusion, this inner resolution. So you might feel like, okay, I get it, all is well, or you feel at least that it soon will be. So for this reading today, for each of the zodiac signs, we're going to be looking at what emotions are you ready to let go of? What emotional waters are you ready to travel on now that you've made this journey halfway? So we're going to go ahead and jump into your specific reading right now. All right, all my Aquarians, this is your Cancer full moon reading, and we're going to start off by looking at these Ancestral Path Tarot. Just see what emotion the Creator wants you to know that you are ready to let go of or to transform. All right, so for all my Aquarians, what emotion do you want to let them know they're ready to let go of? Okay, this is going to be the card here. And you've got the Ace of Staves, which would be the Ace of Wands. So this would represent, like, staves or wands are your passion, your drive, your ambition, your aha inspiration. Could mean your spiritual energy as well. And so what this is telling you, which is interesting, is that you are ready to let go of this need to have this passion, this need to express this spiritual energy into the world, this need. And they're focusing on the word need, because you have a natural ability and a natural gift of being Aquarian, especially with us having moved into the age of Aquarius, that you just being you is going to be enough. That you don't have to work at it like this need and have to, supposed to, should. These expectations that you're putting on it, it's almost like you feel like you're supposed to create this work of art, and then you're like, okay, let me create this work of art. Here we go. I'm supposed to do this, so let me just do it. And you're like, I got to do it soon. In fact, I need to do it by next Wednesday. And you're self-imposing the time and the what and the how and everything on it, when really this is about expressing yourself, expressing this beautiful energy of who you are, and getting rid of all the needs of it that's attached to it. We're going to get more clarification, of course, through these Naked Heart Tarot. I'm just going to pull some cards for each of the 3 weeks around this full moon, the week before and the 2 weeks after. So one more time here. All right, so for our Aquarians, the week before the full moon, what do you want them to? Okay. No, they're like, no, not all those. Don't worry, you're like, oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's hilarious. Got the Ace of Wands again, which is this same card here. And then, so the full moon hits, and then what do you want them to know, our Aquarians, about the week after the full moon? Okay, we went to that one. And these two. And then the second week after this full moon. Okay, and those, nope, not those. So they just want these two for there, these three for here, and these three for here. And so we're just going to bring this one right back up, because this is the Ace of Wands. This is the same card, just in a different deck. So they're definitely saying, yes, that's what we meant. And this is when you really face it. I mean, Aquarians, because you're in the mind, you are an air sign, you will totally analyze and dissect this, like boom, 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 and you're like, okay, here we go. Which brings in this Spirit of Pentacles, which would be the King of Pentacles in a standard tarot. And the King of Pentacles, with that, brings in one, very grounding earth energy, but all of the spirit, or all the kings, also bring in air energy, which is your element, what I just talked about. So you have this groundingness that comes with it, but also you are in your element and bringing in your mental dissection, your the analyzer, and so you're doing all the analysis of everything throughout this. But the gift that the Spirit of Pentacles also brings is that they have been through the whole journey of the Pentacles, and so they knew, with this Pentacles being the outside world, they've gone through all this outwardly external experiences of trying to define themselves by the outside world. And in doing that, they really have all this data and all this information that they bring to you, going, you know what, you ground yourself on your inner worth, not the external worth. So there's the whole belief about, we define ourselves by the relationships we're in, or the situations, or our bodies, or our possessions, or our bank accounts. And having achieved a lot of that, it's been through the relationships, it's been through the education and the jobs, and being successful at all those, and getting money, and getting a great body, and having a lot of possessions, and they still felt empty. And so they realized that finding your sustenance, finding your worth based on your inner worth instead of your external worth, is where it's at. That's where you really find that stable feeling and that stable foundation. So, with this letting go of this need to, have to, blah, 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 it is about finding this inner worth, and then you're able to express that by being you instead. And you can think of it as, like you're this giant warm parka coat, and if you're defining yourself by your retail price, like what you're worth to others on the outside, if you're in northern Alaska during the winter, wow, yeah, they think you're awesome and you feel wanted and needed and even fought over. But if you're that same coat in southern Texas during the summer, then you are ending up on the 90% off clearance rack like a blue light special, because they're like, we don't need you because we're sweating, with shorts and a t-shirt, So the understanding that the King or the Spirit of Pentacles brings you is that when you define yourself by the outside world, that's retail price, it's unstable because people's opinions change like the weather. Whereas if you're finding your worth from the inside, based in the unconditional love of where we come from the creator of all things, then you have the solid foundation of your inner worth instead. And that's like how you can express who you are. Yeah, because here's the movement of pentacles. So this would be the Knight of Pentacles in a regular deck. And so this is movement in your worth, movement in how you see yourself. But also, there's this message that comes from them that all the other knights, all the other movements that happen in the cups, which are your emotions, and the swords, which are your thoughts and beliefs, and the wands, which is your inner spark and ambition, those things happen fast, because it's the inside, and that world moves so very fast compared to the outside world. And so this also is this message of patience, that you change from the inside out, and that life doesn't change like from the outside in. So as you're making these inner changes, just be patient with yourself, because it'll take time for it to unfold on the outside world, but you are going to be having these major changes on the inside. And then you hit that Cancer full moon, and then this is the week after that full moon, and you've got the Hermit. Yeah, so you are definitely doing this inner journey, taking time to really find the star that is inside of you, which the star card is you, represents the Aquarian energy. So you are discovering the true you, which is exactly what we talked about here. But that means taking time away from all the noise of the outside world. You don't necessarily have to be this hermit where you go up to the mountain tops and, ostracize yourself from everyone else. But it is definitely this message of taking time to yourself away from all that noise so that you can discover and connect to this true inner you. Yeah, because here's the sun. Boom! The sun is all about bringing things into the light, of course. The sun rises, you have all this beautiful energy. It's about victory, it's about abundance, it's about, being like vulnerable and feeling the warmth of the sun and just this brightness that happens. I mean, really, it's like, here's that star. This is you shining bright. And like I talked about, you just being you, when you discover that and you shine bright, it's like trying to hide the sun or trying to, to shadow the sun. It can't. With this brightness that you are, you just become this brilliant bright light just by being you. So I love that. Yeah, and the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles would be similar to the King of Pentacles here, in that you find your worth from within. It's about finding this inner abundance, which reflects and of course amplifies out to your outer world too, which shows that you have enough for you. In fact, you have so much for you, you even have extra to give, and you just give without expectation, because it's like the sun. The sun just shines bright and it doesn't expect anything in return. It just is itself, and it just burns bright, and it doesn't, hold a little accountability of, okay, I gave you all sunlight. If you don't give me anything back, I'm going to become dark and you're all going to die. It doesn't do that. It gives of that unconditional love inside. It gives of itself, because it can't help but give of itself, like I talked about in the beginning. And then you move into the second week after the full moon. Yeah, and you have the Five of Cups. So cups are emotions. You do have this change of heart, and you realize, like I talked about, the external things. 3 of these cups are the like relationships. One of the cups is relationships. One of the cups is situations. One of the cups is physical possessions. And those things, when you've tried to define yourself by those external things, like when we talked about it with the Spirit of Pentacles, it left you feeling empty. It left you feeling dissatisfied. It left you feeling disappointed. And so now you're at this point where there's Two of Cups is all about finding this inner you, because it represents, like, one cup is your human character side, and the other cup is your spiritual actor behind this character, your eternal, powerful, supernatural being made of unconditional love is this other cup. That is the chalice. That's the Holy Grail. You are the water bearer. It is what you bring to the world. You bring this beautiful cup of living waters of the unconditional love of the Creator of all things. And so you bring that cup and you bring it to this empty cup, because none of the stuff in the external world has made you feel whole and complete. And it brings you this beautiful, abundant feeling of this Spirit of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles, because it pours it in and you're open to it and you fill up, and then it overflows out to the world. But that is one of the beautiful things, that when you recognize that you are the star card brings hope. It brings this beautiful message, this beautiful gift to the world, showing them what they're truly thirsty for by giving them a little taste of that unconditional living water that's so sweet compared to the bitter waters that we give through those Three of Cups that are disappointing, bitter and sour, because they're full of expectations and they fear and everything else. It doesn't feel sour compared to the sweet waters of those living waters that you are able to bring. And you just bring it just by your energy. You walk into a room, people are like, oh my gosh, there you are. And you just your presence, because you flow with that water, that energy is just bubbling inside of you, especially when you connect to it. When you walk in, it's like it is the sunlight just enters a room, and you can change a room just by being you, okay? Your final card is the Spirit of Swords, which would be the King of Swords, which would be you. This also represents, because it's the air element, it's your thoughts, your beliefs, your mindsets, your attitudes. And the beautiful gift that this king or spirit brings you is, and I just want to point out here, there's your Aquarian sign there, if you can see that there, the little waves there. And so this is you being you. And this Ace of Swords that the king or the spirit wields, one connects you to capital T truths. It connects you to the higher truths of unconditional love in the spirit world. And it allows you to cut away those thoughts and those beliefs that no longer serve you. And so it's the gift that you bring along with the water, is you bring these truths, you bring these awarenesses, you bring these new ways of looking at things instead of the old ways that we're conditioned to believe. You know, all those need to, supposed to's, have to's, like all that need we talked about in the beginning, like this is how you need to present this is what you need to do, and this is what you need, blah, blah, blah. This helps you cut away all of that as well. The Spirit of Swords, also having been through, like the Spirit of Pentacles, the Spirit of Swords has been through all the mental activity of life. And so it brings you this awareness that when you try to make decisions in life strictly from the mind, then that usually doesn't align with who we truly are, because a lot of it is rooted in all that conditioning and those fears that we had, all those expectations that we had. And so because, like I said, that the spirit or the kings bring air, and the Spirit of Swords is air. This is like double air energy. It's like major mind, mental energy. And like I mentioned, you're the analyzer. You're able to really look at things and get to the bottom of things fast, and you take so much information in. But the Spirit of Swords also brings in this, with this water energy here. It's like when you make decisions in your life strictly on all that air energy, it usually doesn't align with who we are. And so making sure to also trust your gut, trust your intuition, focus on your emotions. I'm an Aquarian sun, so I definitely understand. We are able to, I can't even say the word, We're able to put emotions into little things to keep it separate from everything else. And so from the outside, people are like, you don't feel emotions, do you? And I'm like, well, we do. We just don't allow them to rule our lives. And so that's why we're looked to for hope a lot of times, because we're not being swayed so emotionally. When even with this Cancer, full moon energy is like this wave of emotion. Aquarians, you can really ride that wave, with this groundedness too. You're able to just really separate emotion from your mind. But this is also the message that it's important to feel and allow your emotions to be considered, not just to be this thing that is kept in these boxes, but that take them out and play with them, feel them, allow them to connect you to the other side, to connect you to the higher realms, connect you to the spiritual realm as well. But I love this message because it is about this letting go of the need tos, shine bright, be you. You have gifts to bring the world simply by being who you are. So I love that. And they don't have anything else to say, so we're going to leave the message there. I always like to let you know as well that in addition to these readings, I do monthly readings by each zodiac sign, weekly energy updates for each of the elements like fire signs, water signs, air signs, etc., and a few other types of readings throughout the month. So if you don't want to miss out on any of those and be notified immediately when they become available, if you haven't done so already, just click the subscribe button down below, and then that makes this little notification bell pop up, and then you can select your setting to be notified immediately. And if you're enjoying these videos and want to help share the love, then if you give this video a little thumbs up and click the like button, then that just makes the mighty YouTube algorithm share the videos with others as a recommended video or a suggested video. So never any expectations to do so, but if you feel so inclined, I greatly appreciate that. All right, all my fellow Aquas, just know that as you journey through this life, every second of every day, you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. And of course, I love you too. Have an amazing full moon experience, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you very soon. But until then, you take care.